Welcome again to Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte. My name is Thia, and I'm your Dharma leader this evening. I would like to invite you tonight to join into a practice that has been beneficial for me, that I've been working with for a while. And it came out of noticing my tendency to improve everything. Like everything, right? All the time. And I decided to give myself the assignment to take on being ordinary. Like, just that's the fact that, we are ordinary. I am ordinary. We don't have to constantly be striving. When I thought about taking this on, it immediately felt like a relief. Like part of what made me choose this topic is that we do meditate formally, once, sometimes twice a day, but the vast majority of our life is just, ordinary moments, basically, doing things. And so that's what I want us to inhabit with awareness, is this time of being ordinary. And so if you're like me, when I first stumbled across this word, it's like, well, who wants to be ordinary, right? We're taught that we need to be extraordinary, at least in something, that we need to shine. So, and I don't think that's bad or wrong, but I do think our society now is really, really caught up in more is better, more, bigger and glitzier. And so going in the other direction, I think, is a movement that's happening, where simple is also being embraced because of the amount of information that comes at us and the pressure to do more, faster, better. I have a nephew, and that's one of his taglines, doing more, faster, better. So I'm going to talk tonight about some aspects that have presented themselves to me as I practiced with this, and hopefully you'll try it on too and see what you think. It's been interesting. So I think that even as meditators, we have this tendency to always be leaning in. Even when we meditate, when I started looking at ordinary, I was looking at how ordinary feels sort of kicked back, more like you're leaning back. It means much more relaxed, I think. And I started noticing that in a lot of my meditations, I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to go deeper. I'm trying to not let distractions bother me, like really be a good meditator. And I thought, well, just be an ordinary meditator. Just feel what comes up. And that's actually been really, really helpful. Things seem to roll off easier when ordinary is the assignment. So we lean into acquiring things in life. We lean into gaining knowledge, maybe gaining friends or real estate or likes, or gaining talents, learning things. In the meditation tradition, this ties us directly to what's known as becoming. We're always interested in becoming something other than what we are right now, something a little different, a little better. And this is one of the things that keeps us on the wheel of samsara. So hoping to become better, richer, thinner, calmer, stronger, all those things, I don't think in and of themselves may be bad, but I do think it's the striving and the craving connected to it that we need to take a look at and give ourselves a break and say, you know what? Average is fine today, right now. I can be satisfied with this moment. So striving to become is the opposite energy of embracing ordinary. And I hope that instead of feeling like you want to push ordinary away, you can feel the relief that comes with ordinary, the simplicity that comes with ordinary. Um, and also maybe notice the resistance around um, being ordinary or feeling ordinary. Another thing that we connect ordinary to, or that I have connected it to, is boredom. You know, moments where in your practice or in your day, there's just seems to be absolutely nothing going on. And how quickly do we reach for the phone or something to engage us or distract us instead of just sitting there with that moment, with that ordinary moment? Boredom is simply a section of life that we perceive as not offering any pleasure, or there's no pain to attend to, there's no real emotional context. Um, but boredom is an experience that we can know, and not only know, but actually discover that there is some richness to this time of not doing or not becoming or planning or remembering. And there's some richness that can be found there that is found basically nowhere else. I think there's a treasure in this field of not doing or being or becoming. I'd like to share this poem by Jane Hirschfield. It was like this: you were happy, then you were sad, then happy again, then not. It went on. You were innocent or you were guilty. Actions were taken or not. At times you spoke, at other times you were silent. Mostly it seems you were silent. What could you say? Now it is almost over. Like a lover, your life bends down and kisses your life. It does this not in forgiveness. Between you, there is nothing to forgive. But with the simple nod of a baker at the moment she sees the bread is finished with transformation. Eating too is now a thing for others. It doesn't matter what they will make of you or your days, they will be wrong. They will miss the wrong woman, miss the wrong man. All the stories they tell will be tales of their own invention. Your story was this: you were happy, then you were sad. You slept, you awakened. Sometimes you ate roasted chestnuts, sometimes persimmons. So in that piece, I think there's a captured feeling of the ordinary moments of life. And this person is seemingly at the end of their life, looking back, saying, you know, nobody really knew me or will remember me properly. And that it was just a series of moments, you know, happy, sad, flowing through a series of ordinary, many ordinary moments. And so I love the simplicity of that piece, the stripped down nature of that poem. In its definition, ordinary simply means the usual order of things. And I think it can include this natural state of awareness that we have, because the Buddha teaches that the natural order of things, that our resting mind, our unclouded, unimpeded mind, is an awakened, clear, vast mind. When unencumbered by our plans of being this or being that, unencumbered with becoming, we're focused more on letting go instead of gripping on. And so part of ordinary and the practice of ordinary is exploring effortlessness. That's such a beautiful word, effortlessness. When we work with this ordinary and effortlessness and simplicity, it's easy to observe when we are striving for a specific outcome, a specific way that we want to be seen by others. And we might begin to see more clearly the limited way that we see ourselves. It's a sort of knowing. It's not an intellectual knowing, it's more instinctive. And these quiet, ordinary moments bring it into fruition, into what we know as insight in our tradition. I believe these ordinary moments can give a greater perspective to our life, a more real perspective to our life, if we care to go there. And it is really not that easy to sit with ordinary moments. We prefer to be entertained and distracted and productive. It's more interesting, and the mind is geared towards that. But we can make this sort of this ordinary knowing, feeling into the way things are right now without trying to change them. We can let it free us from the tyranny of our own thinking. Usually our minds are running the show, and we're very, very connected to that. Our whole society connects us to that. This is from Eckhart Tolle. Most of us are overly identified with our minds. To be over-identified with your mind is to be trapped in time, the compulsion to live almost exclusively through memory or anticipation. This creates an endless preoccupation with past and future and an unwillingness to honor and acknowledge the present moment and simply allow it to be. The compulsion arises because the past gives us an identity and the future holds the promise of some sort of fulfillment in whatever form. Both, however, are illusions. That's from his book, The Power of Now. There's a nun that lives in Australia. Her name is Jayasara, and she is on the Waking Up app. And if you have that app, look her up sometime. She really gives wonderful talks. She says no particular thought or idea can lead us to the mind's natural state. The mind's natural state is pure awareness. And so the practice is always about letting go and just being aware that we're aware. And so supposedly we are the only animals that can do this metacognition, knowing that we're aware. And so this is basically what we're training our minds to do with this meditation practice, with insight meditation practice. So embracing the ordinary has, for me, become a way of letting go, become a way of not striving, of accepting and observing, and not trying so hard to make things happen. You may have heard the phrase, being okay if it happens and being okay if it doesn't is a wondrous place to be, a powerful place to be. So Sunday night it rained, finally. This is another perspective on ordinary. The skies were dark with pregnant clouds. Sudden cool air was moving through the trees, chiming the little Japanese bell by the porch. And then the rains came. Loud pattering of water hitting leaves and roof. For 10 or so minutes, I sat like this on my porch, listening and looking, soaking up the spectacle of the rain we so badly needed. Then I got bored. It became ordinary. just another rain. As I considered getting up to leave, like lightning, a thing shot across in front of me. A large hawk with white stripes on her tail landed on the back of an Adirondack chair outside. As the skies flickered with lightning and thunder boomed, she stood unflinching. Her small shoulders and steady gaze told me this for her was an ordinary moment. In her world, hunting during a rainstorm. She seemed not to know that I was on my porch watching, but she knew. I looked away for a second, and then there was emptiness where she had perched, not to be seen anywhere, only her cries from the sky. I stayed on the porch and thought about that after it happened on Sunday, and it felt like the way an insight comes when you're sitting in your practice, and it can feel sort of boring, and then all of a sudden, bam, you just get this idea or this opening out of nowhere. And that's sort of what it felt like to see that hawk and then suddenly gone. Hopefully our insights aren't suddenly gone. So there's a koan that says, koans are rhetorical riddles. They're just meant to engage us in not knowing and open our mind. A koan that says, it is so big, nothing is outside of it. It is so small, nothing is inside of it. What is it? So to me, it's this moment. It's all that we have right now, right now, right now. And our whole life is lived right now, right now. The Buddha advises in a well-known sutta called the Baddha Karata Sutta about a single excellent night. And I like this sutta because it seems like an ordinary night where the monks are sitting around and they're kind of waiting for him to come out and give his nightly talk. And the way that it's written, it sounds like he appears, he seems to be a little short with them, maybe even grumpy. Maybe I'm reading that into it. But he tells them, don't look back, don't be lost in the past, don't waste time with so much planning. Fully inhabit this time unfolding now. Then and only then will you have a single excellent night. And he abruptly leaves, says goodnight, excuses himself, and goes to bed. So that is what the Buddha says about the ordinary mind being the way. Ordinary experience as it is here and now. This is it. There's no extraordinary thing that needs to happen. It might and it could, but it doesn't have to. We don't have to look for it because we're not apart from it. Ordinary experience is already vast and boundless. There's much, much, much to be felt into. One perspective is that we are not yet living our deepest life until we're devoting ourselves to the most ordinary moments of life, not cherry picking the ones we like or want and then craving them when they go away, but just stepping in fully as much as we're able to everything. Can we inhabit any moment just as it is and feel like it's enough, complete? Vipassana as it is. The moment one gives close attention to anything, even a blade of grass, it becomes a mysterious, awesome, indescribably magnificent world to itself. I love the micro and macro lenses that they make for our phones now. You can take a picture of an ant and load it onto your phone and blow it up like 500%. And it's absolutely fascinating. Pretty much anything that you take a picture of and blow up 500%, that's kind of the nature of ordinary, where you see suddenly the mysteriousness of everything around us. I'm going to end now with a story of our neighbors. So we moved into our current house 6 years ago, and there was at that time two families, and each one had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, two girls and two boys. And they did everything together. And so our street was always, I had some kind of a parade of dogs and big wheels and wagons and parasols and anything on wheels and going up and down the street. And I just loved it. Moms under the tree, staying cool, talking, but kids, always up to something. So one day I look out my window and all the kids are crouched at the end of the driveway in a circle, just really interested in something. And I can't imagine. I think, a baby bird must have launched and crashed, or maybe a snake got hit by a car or something. Like, what are they looking at? So I go out crunching through the gravel to the end of the driveway, and these kids, the little 2-year-olds have these little starfish chubby hands, and they're just picking up these stones and looking at them and sharing them with the 5-year-olds who are pocketing the ones that they think are, treasures. There's pink ones and purple ones and shiny quartz, and we even found some coral. And I sat down in the gravel with these kids, and it just was so beautiful that they had thrown all their toys aside to look at the gravel in the driveway and take it home, and save it, these little rocks. So that was 6 years ago, and they don't do that anymore because they've grown out of that childish wonder that we're born with, where everything is interesting and beautiful. So my hope tonight is that common moments can sustain us instead of burdening us, and that we can choose to be interested and think about the gravel in the driveway as a possible source of beauty or amusement. As some of us get a little older, we don't do as much. We're more focused on being, which is not as measurable. But this is the perfect time to step into the wonder of ordinary, to step into the wonder of contemplative eldering, and really get into knowing how to be content and not strive. It's a big, big gift. There's a song by James Taylor. He says, "The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time." So if you can find that and listen to it, I think it will really dial in the ability for awe and wonder in your life, and maybe keep ordinary moments alive and not relegated to the boring, don't have time for that pile. So I'd like to pass out the Metta Sutta tonight, and I'm wondering if somebody can, maybe two people can pass these around. And the reason I'm sharing the Metta Sutta is because you'll see that the Metta Sutta says when we are skilled in goodness and we know the path of peace, we're contented and easily satisfied. We're unburdened with duties, calm and wise, not proud or demanding. It says, may all beings be at ease, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down at the bottom, free from drowsiness, awake, aware, not holding to fixed views. The pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision down at the very bottom, is freed from all sense desires. and is not born again into this world. So that's true freedom on July the 3rd. Freedom from craving and aching to be other than. Thank you for your ears tonight.